How's it going? I'm Ryan, and today I'm going to go over the one trade that I took on NQ. I took some puts in the morning, had a decent win, could have been a lot bigger. Um, we'll dive into what I was watching in that trade in just a second. We're on the daily time frame here. We've had a pretty much an entire week of low volume, pretty choppy days. So hard stuff to trade, right? We're not getting these big candles, these big moves. Um, we're getting kind of these smaller candle bodies, long wicks on either side, and relatively low volume if you compare it to sort of the average. So not the easiest days to trade. Usually get some moves in the morning and then some chop throughout the rest of the day until power hour, where some of that volume picks up. So hopefully we get some better price action moving into next week. You can see we've slowly kind of trended down, still setting ourselves up for this higher high and a higher low. We'll take a look at the 1 hour and some zones I was watching. So we have this, which was previous all-time high. That's really the only zone that came into play. I also drew this resistance trend line that was the high of Tuesday's pre-market, the high of Tuesday's price action, the high of yesterday, so Wednesday's price action, and it bounced off the high of this morning's pre-market high. So this morning I drew that line as it was kind of past 2 days, including the pre-market today, had all been rejecting off this trend line. So I felt that that was relevant. That also was the basis of my trade, which we'll get into. And then I had the support line from yesterday's low to this swing low to these pre-market lows as well. So if I jump down into the 5 minute before we get into today's price action, this is what I'm talking about. We had, yesterday's low, this bounce, this bounce, this bounce here, and then from the upper trend line, like yesterday's high, pre-market high, and it's not exact, right? Anytime you draw on a higher time frame and zoom down into a lower time frame on thinkorswim, you're going to get a little bit of variance there. But you can see that the trend lines themselves played out pretty clearly today. See how we held it in the morning, came up and rejected, came down, held it, kind of chopped around in here. Once we broke, we broke this trend line, got the retest, formed lower lows, came up and retested it in the towards the evening. Couldn't break above or close above that trend line, to which point we rejected and formed a slightly lower low. So this would have been an excellent trade in here. We rejected, come up, tested again, get that 5 minute close underneath. Entering on this candle and getting that rejection would have been a pretty nice move at the end of the day when you have that volume. But we'll look at the trade that I did take. So I took a short position on this candle here, and I sold at right here. So I sold it 18,510. Apparently my fill was not very good for either for my entry, because I only got $20, which is a 10-point move. But I am fairly certain my entry was not this low if I exited here. So we can take a look. So why did I take this trade? I think the 1 minute displays this a little bit clearer, but we had come up, we had news come out at 7:45 and at 8 in the morning, at which point we had already come up, retested. You saw some sellers present in this area, right at this trend line, right? You see these upper wicks, this momentum that came up, it's kind of dying down. We get a pullback. We get that news at 8. So right here, you see the news at 8, the volume accompanies it. We push up and we get this big rejection. It was after this candle that I felt confident to take this trade. So I took this trade on this candle here on the 1 minute. We did push up and create a higher high. My stop was tentatively above the high of day, but we pushed up and pulled back pretty quick. I didn't have a stop loss set in place, so not the best practice, but I really just wanted to watch price action up here because we were getting quite a bit of volatility. But it was this rejection after seeing us pull back here and then push up after that news and get a huge close on high volume, where we wicked up and closed pretty bearish. That gave me the confidence to enter. So I entered on this candle here and sustained a little bit of drawback as we came up into this area. Had I been trading multiple contracts, after we printed this here, this push up and pull back, that would have been a great place to maybe enter more, and size into this position with a little bit lower risk. I was taking about a 1-to-1 trade just based on, I guess, not having the best entry. Entering closer to this trend line would have been a little bit better, or even maybe up in here where we were rejecting previously, maybe waiting for that moment. I thought after seeing this, after we got this rejection, push up and got this candle here, I was expecting a pretty immediate move to the downside. So that is why I got in when I did. Only trading one contract. I wish I sized in up here because this had a huge move. I took profit at 18,510. Why did I take profit there? It's because we had resistance here in the morning. You see us kind of find some resistance, break through, come down and retest and hold that area. When we got this initial rejection off the trend line, where did we bounce? Right from this area. So as we came down and we rejected again, that was the point at which I thought would be most logical that we could see another bounce, right? Because we had already had some price action in that area indicating that, resistance when we were below it, support twice when we were above it, and we already had some bounces and continuation from there. So that's why I took profit here. We moved another like almost 30 points to the downside here. So that's a lot of profit that was left on the table. This would have been an excellent trade to have runners. Could have taken profit, set stop loss at break even. Didn't even get close to there, and we just kind of continuously sold on down towards this bottom trend line. So that would have been a beautiful trade. Can't always capture all of it. Usually you're not going to get the exact top and the exact bottom, or vice versa of a trade. So I followed my plan in terms of where I wanted to take profit. I was watching for this rejection once it happened earlier. And the past couple days, right, I mentioned that we had been seeing some chop. Aside from yesterday where we had that huge drop and then we kind of chopped around. And, previous day we get some chop and then a drop in the after hours or in the afternoon. But kind of ranging around in here. So once I got out of this trade, I didn't take any more. I debated, maybe you get a bounce at the bottom of the trend line, but I was pretty happy with my day. So I didn't take anything from there. We got the majority of that volatility in the morning, as I mentioned, and then kind of the last hour of the day as well. The zone itself didn't really do much. This is kind of ugly, right? It was a pretty ugly price action. ES was a bit of the same, pretty ugly. If I look at this zone, right, where was this? This was that previous all-time high. So it's been valid on previous days price action. Today we just kind of chopped around, and I think it was just waiting to kind of break out of this consolidation that we had there. We did get a break and a move to the downside, so we might continue that downward move following into next week. That's the only trade I took. I'm not gonna lie, I was sweating a little bit when we pushed up and made a new all-time high, and especially when this 5-minute candle closed above this trend line. But I don't know, I just trusted myself. I trusted what I was seeing in the volume and on the 1-minute chart. I think seeing this where we wicked down so far and then closed and held this trend line and then got a move to the upper trend line, seeing that we got that rejection earlier, seeing that reaction after the news came out, where we tried to push up and rejected pretty heavily, I just felt like it was going to work, and had that conviction that it was. So this had the potential to be a bigger loser had I really held. You know, if we broke high a day and just continued running, I would have had a bigger loser. I thought this was going to be a bigger win. I did get a not so great entry on this, so there's things to learn. Definitely things to learn. I think having more contracts in this scenario would have been better, obviously, because I could have kind of sized into this position and scaled out and kind of captured more of this move, especially once we got this 5-minute close. That was really nice. But, you know, we came out with a win. We ended the week with a win. I believe I'm actually up a little bit on the week. I had a losing day yesterday. I think I've only taken 3 trades this week. One day was no trade. So I think I had a small win, a loss, and today a smaller win as well. But yeah, we're up on the week. Can't complain about that. It's been difficult to trade nonetheless. Definitely difficult to trade some of this price action, especially in the morning when we kind of get this volatile chop. Take a look at ES real quick. I didn't take any trades on ES, and we can look at why, right? ES kind of got those rejections off of previous day high. And it was a bit of an uptrend as well. You see that we're making a higher high, higher low, higher high, kind of series of higher lows. Took a while to form that higher high. Then we broke that and started to form a bit of a downtrend. We found support at the exact level that we had the bottom earlier in the morning. That's pretty interesting. We bounced to the cent off the same level, that 5305. But majority of volatility again came in the last hour of the day. So morning's kind of been a little bit harder to read, a little bit harder to trade, quite a bit choppy. Luckily, we're trading options and not, or excuse me, we're trading futures, not options, right? Some of this chop would be absolutely terrible on options, but you can survive it with futures because there's no theta, there's no implied volatility, and that's the beauty of it, and that's why I chosen to make that switch. But that's all I got for you. Thank you for watching. I do trade live Monday through Friday, so I'll be here next week. Remember, tomorrow is closed. Hope you have a great weekend and a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Peace out.